All right, so hopefully this video is not too shaky, but I am currently driving for a couple of hours, and I thought it'd be a really good time to just really discuss some homeschool hot takes, some unpopular homeschool opinions that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, and some people ain't gonna like what I have to say. So, but it is meant to encourage you who may see things a little bit differently. So one of the things, if my camera is shaky, I am so sorry. The road's a little bumpy. But one of the things that I find to be true is that homeschooling is not for everybody. And I know that that thought and that mentality may be or is very contradictory to a lot of homeschool mamas out there, but it's not. There are single moms out there. There are moms who struggle with severe medical issues. There are families who the mama has to work. There are a ton of different situations in which a mom may not be able to homeschool, or a dad may not be able to homeschool. And in that situation, it's best for the child to be in school. And I do not think that God is any less on his throne when a child is in public school than when a child is homeschooled. I think that we are called to care for our children in the way that the Lord has provided us. And so that's just one of my homeschool opinions. You can be the main opinion in your child's life, but you should not be the only opinion in your child's life or the only voice in your child's life. I think that having different voices and different opinions and learning about different cultures and different religions and different philosophies and different teaching techniques and different things like that, and having that exposure, having your children have that exposure, is very, very important. I think that there is nuances and different perspectives that help to shape and mold an individual that you may not have all by yourself, if that makes sense. I think it's important to navigate through that and come alongside that with your kiddos. I think that the first time that your child is hearing about any different opinion should not be when they step outside your house for the first time. And that's not to say that you can expose your children to everything, because I don't think that's possible. I don't think you can expose your kids to everything. But that is to say that you can expose them to other things. You can expose them to other perspectives. You can expose them to other narratives. And so what ends up happening is that when they are exposed to something different that they may not have been exposed to by you or in your home, they know how to navigate through that because the template is there, the outline is there. And sometimes it's not even somebody who is saying something different than you. It might be somebody who is saying the same thing that you're saying, but it just validates more of what you're saying because it's somebody else saying it. So for example, like my husband tells our girls that they are beautiful, and he tells them that all the time, like constantly. But when my girls hear from, I don't know, their uncle or their brother, "You look beautiful," what? You would have thought that it is like they ain't never heard that before in their lives. You know what I mean? It just validates what my husband has always told them, you know? And so people may be saying the same things that you say, but they hear it different coming from somebody else. Now, before I continue with more hot takes, I do want to say that this is a collaboration with my friend Kristen over at Pearls and Oak. She has put together a small group of us to just talk about our homeschool hot takes. So definitely check out the link in my description so you can catch the rest of them. They're all different, they're all unique, and it really, truly, you learn more listening to people that think differently. That's meta. Homeschooling can be overwhelming. Homeschooling can be overwhelming because of the amount of choices that there are out there. You can unschool, you can Charlotte Mason, you can classical, you can traditional, you can family style, because of the overwhelming amount of choices and endless options that there are out there in homeschooling, it can be very overwhelming. Now, I dare say what makes it less overwhelming is to know what the goals are for your family and to know what your family values and sitting in that rather than sitting in a method or rather than choosing a method, if you know what I mean. Because what ends up happening is you can be so distracted by all the shiny and not trust that what you are doing is good enough. Like, oh my gosh, I'm too traditional. I need some Charlotte Mason. I need to take these kids outside for 1,000 hours. You know what I mean? But you can be so distracted because it sounds good. Every method is based off of that own method specific research, is based off of tried and true experience from those families. And so it sounds good, but it might not be what's good for your family. And so rather than be overwhelmed by all the options, and rather, in my opinion, than going out and choosing an option, it's best to figure out what your family's values and goals are, and then choosing a method that aligns with that, or choosing several methods that align with that. I think you will see more success that way than in trying to fit yourself into a specific mold. Homeschooling can take over. Homeschooling can end up being the job that doesn't have a time off. If you're not careful to draw clear boundaries as to where homeschooling starts and where homeschooling ends, you can, in essence, decrease your role as a wife. You can decrease your role as a mom. You can decrease your role as a sister, a friend. It can take over and seep into all aspects of your life because it's the never-ending job. Especially in my experience, where I realized I never stopped. I never stopped curriculum shopping. I never stopped thinking about what this kid needs to learn, what that kid needs to learn, how I'm lacking here, where I need to pick up there. That all other aspects of things began to suffer, whether it was my home, whether it was my relationships, all other aspects of things began to suffer. And to be honest, it is still something that I struggle with, is establishing that boundary and stopping when I need to stop. But it is vital so that this doesn't take over, because this is not all that we are called to do as homeschooling moms. And so it's super important to establish those boundaries and respect them. Also, you don't have to teach your kids at all. You really don't. You can be the curator of your child's education and not necessarily the person that is doing the actual teaching. Would I recommend it? Probably not. I like to teach my kids and I think it's important to teach them. But I am getting to a point, especially with my older kiddos, where I'm teaching them what I, as the teacher, as the primary teacher, is decreasing a lot more, and a lot of their things are being outsourced, whether it's internships, whether it is online classes, whether it is curriculum that they literally teach themselves, and it's not necessarily me doing the teaching and I just come in to check or grade. You don't necessarily have to homeschool at all. Let me know in the comments, were any of these homeschool hot takes shocking to you? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let's have a healthy, respectful discussion in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions. Also, don't forget to check out the playlist with the other homeschool hot takes.